Hey, we're excited to bring you another episode of the Everyday Leader podcast. Today, it's just Matt and myself, and we are going to share our journey of stick with itness.
Welcome to the Everyday Leader podcast. Leadership is a choice. Join me, Matt, and my co-hosts Drew and Tate each episode as we break down how to lead powerfully in your family, team, and organization. Hey, everyone, and welcome to the Everyday Leader podcast. Today, Drew and I are excited to jam on a topic that we think will be really interesting for you. And it's funny because Drew and we talk really candidly pretty frequently, actually, and it's one of the things we want to bring more of to this podcast for you is just the real life ups and downs of striving to be a leader in our home and in our business every day, and some of the challenges that come with that. So as we were thinking about what do we really want to say and discuss today that will be meaningful, we came up with this idea. I had brought up just like the ups and downs, the roller coaster of being a dad, an entrepreneur, and striving to show up as a leader. And so we decided to talk about stick with itness is what we're going to call it. And we'll discuss today a little bit about that. Like, why do we get bored? How do we stay focused? Um, and that there really is no secret sauce to this. And it's really some pretty simple principles. So Drew, excited to hear your thoughts. I know that you kind of lit up a few minutes ago before we hit record with some of
Yeah.
of your recent experiences and thoughts. So yeah, start sharing.
Yeah. And to our listener, if you've been listening, you probably know a little bit about Matt and I, and even Tate, who's not able to join us today. All of us have been through some pretty big changes in our work and business the last 1 to 2 years, I would say, just depending, maybe three if you look back far enough. All of us have started new businesses. All of us have walked away from things that were, I would say, safe and secure. Very much, very much things that were comfortable and that we were all doing well in, to go pursue things we felt called to do. Um, and so there's uh, there's a lot to that, and we're not saying anyone has to like quit what you're doing if you don't feel called to what you're doing. And that's just, I think, where we are at in our lives right now. And I think sometimes what's you see the entrepreneur journey on Facebook, on Instagram, and sometimes it's easy to look at that and be like, man, they're just killing it, they're crushing it, they're doing well. And I don't think everyone shares how hard it is, like how hard it really is to go do new things. And so the thing I told you, Matt, I wanted to share and that I was going to wait to share with you till we got on this is, we were talking about this the other day, my wife and I, and we're not starving. It's been a change. I'm rebuilding my business and what I'm doing. And that's brought a lot of fun and some unique challenges. And my wife said to me the other day, I would probably love you less if you gave up. And I'm grateful she said that. I'm grateful. I'm grateful. Man, I'm getting emotional. Grateful that she believes in me, and grateful that she sees like a vision that I have of how I want to help people and change the world. And I guess that would be my message to you if you're out there struggling in some new job or some new industry. We'll probably hate you if you give up. No, just kidding. We're not going to hate you. And people sometimes don't realize what it takes to create something new and all the work and the effort that goes into that. So yeah, I don't know where I'm going with this thought now at this point, Matt. And I think it can be it can be a challenge to be in business and to do new things. And I think part of leadership is that stick with itness, or whatever however we're phrasing that. Um, and I think that's inspiring. I'm always inspired when I see people sticking with it, especially when things are challenging or tough.
Yeah. Wow. Thanks for sharing that, man. That's beautiful. And I really believe that Liz would not actually love you less. And like, what a powerful way to just drive home to you, like, hey, it doesn't matter how long this takes, you know, it's more important that we stick with it if you still feel called to it and if you still feel passionate about it and that kind of thing. Which I think it's also important for us to recognize that there's a there's a big difference between quitting and or settling and pivoting. I think
Yeah.
I've pivoted a lot of times in my life and it was actually really useful. I've also quit what I think the world would call quit sometimes, when it was useful, but it wasn't actually quitting. It was a pivot. It was like, hey, the
Right.
dream has shifted. Hey, I can see something now that I couldn't see before. And I think that's the main underlying thing here is don't settle. Like society spends all their time trying to help us settle down or whatever. Like I'm not interested in settling down because like that just sounds like death to me. Well, I think that's the key is like get honest with yourself and ask yourself like, am I settling or am I like on a path that I'm passionate about and that I believe in and that I'm pursuing? Truly, I mean, we talk about identity multiple times on the show, and it's the anchor for everything. It's the anchor for this because when things get tough and things aren't going the way you want, and people aren't answering the phone, and whatever it is, right? If you're not super clear on like, well, this is who I am and why I'm doing what I'm doing and what I want to create, then it's easy to get really shaken. It's easy to get shaken even with it.
Yeah.
Um, and so having that as an anchor is absolutely huge. And I read something recently. So I'm the business that Drew is alluding to that I've started recently is, and many of you know this, is a software company, which like I know nothing about building a software company. And luckily I have a partner who knows a lot about the actual nuts and bolts of software. It's been very helpful. And we have a big mission and vision, right? To help people in teams to experience real alignment, engagement, and fulfillment. Like truly, I want everyone to be able to wake up in the morning and go be engaged in something that's meaningful to them. Like that's the really big picture vision of what we're striving to create. I am always saddened when people are miserable in their job or in their business or in what they're engaged in. And, kind of going back to what I said earlier, they're settling. So I was reading recently about a list of companies who in the software world are very large, very successful at this point. And it was reminding us what I was reading was reminding us how many people they had originally pitched to that said no, that said, like, "This is a dumb idea," or like, "This won't work," or "This has no traction." And with several of them, it was in the hundreds. Like, they pitched 100 people that said, "No, we're not investing in this. No, we don't think this will work. No, there's not a market for this." And that's just so that's so crazy, and that's what you're up against. Like, if you believe in something enough and have enough conviction around what you believe you can create in the world, then you'll keep going, even when people say no, even when doors close, even when you just feel like you're completely by yourself on an island.
Yeah. No, that's so good, Matt. And I love what you said about pivot. Like I think sometimes we in our mind say, well, if I had this dream and it doesn't go exactly how I want, like I've failed. And I've heard lots of people say this and I truly believe it. So I'm just gonna say I said it. It's you decide and either you win or you learn. Like I really think it's you make a decision to go all in one direction, and it's either going to pay off, and if it doesn't, you're going to know one more way not to do it, and it's only a failure if you don't learn from it. And so I don't think there's anything wrong with a pivot in your business, in your family, in your life, especially if you start recognizing, hey, maybe there's an adjustment to make here. Maybe there's a way to do this a little bit different. And sometimes it takes those like that crazy dream to get you going in one direction and then recognizing just because you jumped off like, oh, hey, I do need to make an adjustment to this.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So, okay, so if you're thinking about this concept of like stick with itness, right? And believe me, I was speaking for myself. I am historically not someone who from the outside stuck with anything. In fact, it was one of the really internal kind of judgments I had in myself of like, I switch when it gets hard or give up when it gets tough or like change my mind too much and all that kind of stuff. And so I really have done a lot of work to understand like, okay, what do I want to do and what do I want to be engaged in? And I like that I'm willing to really like burn for and like take heat for and stick with. And so I mentioned the first thing that really stands out to me earlier is like having this kind of anchor of an identity and a mission of like, who am I and what I want to bring about in the world. So that's the first thing that I would say. If you are still unclear on that, spend some time and ask yourself some really important questions like, what do I want to bring about in the world? What do I want other people to experience when I do what I do? Right? It's just such a powerful way to think about like, well, what's my purpose? Well, think about what you want other people to experience when they engage with your service, your product, your work, your personality, whatever it might be. And ask yourself, some of those probing questions are like, well, who am I? What do I stand for? What do I value? What do I want to spend my time doing ideally? And then one other thought with like, okay, how do we develop stick with itness? I'm not associated with this program by any means, and me and my kids have been using it. It's called Build Legends. It's a really cool interactive app for parents and kids to build confidence for 5 minutes a day. It's fantastic. They don't know that I'm saying this, so maybe they'll hear this
Get
and
a sponsorship
get a kickback or
for
something.
this.
And
Yeah.
it's been great. I recommend that you look it up. Build Legends. And anyways, one of the stories last night was this idea around um, flushing away things that happen so that you can move on. And the example was this baseball team who had been like historically good year after year after year, and they're in this middle of a season and they're really struggling. Like they're about to have the first losing season they've had in years and years and years. And their kind of sports psychologist guy got everyone mini toilets and like put them in the dugout, put them in the locker room, and it became this whole thing that they had around when something doesn't go the way you want, you strike out, you know, ground out, make an error, whatever it might be, that we're going to flush that down the toilet and we're going to be right back in like the present moment and, why we're here, what we're doing, who we know we can be, how we know we can perform. So that would be one of the other things that really comes to my mind when it's like, how do we develop this stick with itness? I truly believe that our stick with itness is directly correlated to our ability to forget the things that didn't go well or move on from them, like let go of them, unattach from them. Obviously, we can learn from them, right? Like that's the beautiful thing. And the faster I can like forgive myself, remind myself what's true, let go of this thing that happened or didn't happen that was a quote unquote failure, the faster I'm like right back in and engaged in who I am and what I want to create.
Yeah, I like that, Matt. One thing I've been studying and exploring personally lately is just the idea of happiness and where you find it and where it comes from. And what's interesting, and I've shared this with you, but for some of our listeners who may not know, the time I had the most success financially, I was the most stressed out, most unhappy, um, the most, I don't know, regret's the right word, but wondering, am I like, why am I doing this? Like, is this all worth it? And I've often been the one who's always looking ahead, like, I'll be happy when, I'll be happy when. And I've really come to believe, like, if you're not happy now, building the dream, having the business break X number of dollars a year, serving X number of customers isn't going to make you any more happy. At the end of the day, it's, hey, can I be happy now? Can I take joy in the journey? Can I take joy in my current circumstances? Can I let go, as you're alluding to, let go of things that haven't worked in the past and be okay with that? Not that we don't look back or don't look ahead and live out of the moment. Like we live out of the moment instead of being attached to some future or past that doesn't currently exist. And so yeah, as far as stick with itness goes, I don't think the sticking with it's going to make you happy at the end. It's choosing to find joy and find happiness now as you go along the way. So, and that's been a hard thing for me to learn, and I feel like I'm still working on that and mastering that.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, it's the journey. Like the joy's always in the journey, not in the destination. And so really the best way to sum up all of this is with a big and many of you know I'm a big fan of this word and. Like I think of it when I say it out loud, I think of it in all caps. That it's like it's accentuated. It's so important because it allows you to hold two things that don't seem like they can go together. And this is another perfect example of that. Like, it doesn't seem like we can hold this like clarity of identity and mission and insane commitment and be unattached at the exact same time from the results of our insane commitment. And I'm telling you, like, that's what we're shooting for. Like, that is the spot. That's how you get to what Drew's talking about, where you can choose to be happy now because you're not attached to the outcomes, and you're full of joy and fulfillment because you're engaged in the present moment and whatever it is you're committed to, whether that's your family, your business, both, obviously, several things, right? And so I would say that if you want to embody that more, if you want to be that more, start thinking and speaking in terms of and asking yourself questions in terms of like, how could I have this and this? How do I create that and be present? How do I strive for this big mission and vision and find joy in the journey? And your brain is very smart. It will find answers to the questions you pose to it unless you shut it down with, I don't know, I can't, that kind of stuff. So keep your mind open, ask yourself better questions. As Richie Norton says, you'll get better answers. And think in terms of and that's a very expansive, abundant way of thinking.
And one thing I'd say, even to all of that, speak those things out loud. I've found over and over again, my thoughts run wild. And when I speak out loud, whether it's to myself, to a good friend, Matt, I called you the other day with some things that were heavy on me. And as soon as I got off the phone, I felt better. And it's just funny how I found there's just so much power in speaking the things we want, speaking the ands out loud, and the ridiculous things seem to just float away when you say them out loud and you move on from them. And the things that are truly who you are seem to resonate and build and grow stronger when you say it out loud. One thing I also want to invite, we don't share this, haven't shared this a lot on our podcast. And if you're listening to this and this is resonating with you, we have these conversations all the time. We have a group called The Climb. We want to invite more business owners and leaders who are looking to level up and become better leaders. And so if you're interested in that, reach out to Matt, myself, or Tate. We're easy to connect with and get a hold of. We want to help more people find the things we're finding as we go through this journey. So, well, we're going to keep it a short episode today. Love the insights, Matt. Any last thoughts you want to leave our listener?
Yeah, last thing I would say is, look, we share this totally from a place of we're experiencing this, have experienced this. I mean, we're in this right now. We certainly don't have everything figured out. We have tools that we're utilizing to help us on our journey and to help us strive to capture this stick-with-itness that we're after. And so grateful to be able to share those with you today. The last thing that I'll say is action is the antidote to so much that causes us suffering and stress. And so whatever is occurring to you, get up and go do it. Like, shoot the text, make the call, have the conversation, go to the gym, whatever, like clean your office, clean your house, whatever it is like that's occurring to you that you think would take you one step in the direction that you want to go, take that action. And then the more steps you take, you get more clarity. A lot of people think that clarity comes from thinking. I've been caught in that a lot. And right now I still am sometimes, where it's like, well, if I just think through this enough or keep thinking on it, like I'll get it clear. And no, clarity comes from taking steps, taking action. Because as soon as you start moving, then you can see what's next, what's around the corner. And so take whatever action is occurring to you as you listen to this, and then stick with it, and don't be afraid to pivot.
Yep, totally. Yep, great advice. And if you do that, you'll either win or you'll learn. So
that's right, 100%. Okay, thanks for tuning in, everyone. Today's the day.
Today's the day.
Thanks for joining us on the Everyday Leader podcast. If you're ready to take your leadership journey even further, subscribe to our weekly newsletter for more insights and practical tips. And don't forget to connect with us on Instagram to stay a part of our growing community. Just follow the links in the show notes. If this episode impacted you, please help us spread the word and share the link with a friend from wherever you're listening.